we return to discover what happened to the crew. Last time we saw our first death, the death of Dana Rogan in the bridge. And so far the accusation have fallen on someone called Michael, but we don't really know who that is, other than that's his name and the other people in the crew suspect he has done it. So we have to dig deeper and see if that is truly it, or if something a lot more mysterious is happening on this station. Now, after playing last time, I've made myself my own visualization of the crew timeline to just help me keep track of where people are, what they're doing. Another thing I realized after putting this together is that there's supposed to be 12 crew members, and I already have 12 in here. And who's currently not listed is Dr. DuPont, who was mentioned. But because there's also a location coded as the U, and we saw Officer Barry and Jackie there. And the way the place is described, we see that there is a glow of Jackie's bedside lamp in her room, right? So it does seem like crew quarters, and because of the coding being GU, I assume it's basically DuPont's quarters, and therefore Jackie is Dr. DuPont. And now we shall continue investigating. So I think it might be interesting to try and fill in more of the bridge timeline between the start of the situation and Dana's death at 06. Obviously we know that she's here with Jackson and Cross when they find her and she dies. And then I've managed to find that in the previous time slot she was there alone. But then Jackson says that this has to be Michael's doing because Dana and him were working together. So if Jackson is correct, I would expect there to be a point in time where Dana and Michael are at the bridge together. We do have timeline 2, 3, and 4 currently not covered at the bridge. So I am curious to check whether there is a scene where those two are actually together here. So 04 at the bridge, Dana and Michael. No. 03, no. 02, no. Okay, so that is not true at any point, which is interesting to know, right? It's interesting to know that they were working together, but it was either not on the bridge or Michael wasn't there because something has already happened to him and we don't know that yet. In that case, there is still plenty of information in that big scene at the medical bay, where Jackson talks about being with Carol and Barry in the galley, and that they were then going back to the security office, but instead they ended up in the cargo bay. And then we also have Alex Rogan talking about being in his cabin with his wife Dana, who's now dead. So at some point in the timeline, those two in that location, I assume called Arrow, because it would be Rogan quarters. So actually he says, she went to the bridge when I came down to the cargo bay. So they are in medical now at 05. They were in cargo bay at 04. So would they be at those quarters at 03? So Arrow for Rogan. And it's Alex and Dana. Yes, there we go. Dana sniffles. Alex, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have left you here earlier. I should have stayed with you and finished our conversation. Alex, I'm sorry too, baby. I just feel so inadequate and you're so perfect. It's difficult to keep my jealousy in check, okay? Marriage problems. A deafening explosion rocks the station. Dana, panicked. What was that? Dana turns to look out the window. Alex, what is this outside? Dana opens the window to get a better look. Alex, what? What do you see? Dana, nothing. I could have sworn I just saw the wind walking. No, it's nothing. That explosion just scared me. Alex, it came from the cargo bay. We need to get to the bridge. It will be safe there. Go, Dana, now. I'll be right behind you. Dana, why? Where are you going? Don't worry. I'll explain later. There's something else I need to do first. I'll join you up on the bridge as soon as I can. Okay, so he was going to the cargo bay for some reason that he didn't want to explain at the time. But that means, I assume we will find out at some point what that was. But that also means, at the start of the conversation, Lynn says, I shouldn't have left you here earlier. I should have stayed with you and finished our conversation. So there's an earlier slot, potentially 01, where again, they're both here. And then Dana leaves and it's just Alex here. So let's work back. At 01, Are they here together? Yes. Alex. I just feel so useless, Dana. Everyone's looking to you, the chief science officer, to figure out the signal. And me, I'm just a pilot. What good am I here? Alex, don't say that. You're not useless. We all have our roles. And right now, mine is to analyze this data. Yours is to, well, to be you. To be me? What does that even mean? To sit around and watch you be brilliant while I'm relegated to flying a glorified taxi if we ever need to leave? It means you keep the station running. You keep us safe. And it means you're my husband and I need your support, not your self-pity. We are a team, Alex. Always have been. Yes, it's a weird thing of like, oh, well, exciting things are happening for my wife. Pity me. Look at me. I'm so sad. Alex, where are you going? We're not finished here. Alex, I need to go. Michael will be waiting for me in the research lab. Okay, so they were going to work together in the research lab, not the bridge. That's why I couldn't find them there. Oh, I see what's going on. I see how he looks at you. I see how everyone in here looks at you. What is that supposed to mean? Do you not trust me? I'm your wife, Alex, and I love you for you. I'm going back to sleep. Do whatever the hell you want. Alex, you are unbelievable. I don't know what you want from me. I have to go. He's acting terribly, to be honest. Like, okay, you feel insecure about you're not having as important of a job, but like, sort yourself out. But that tells us that Dana is a chief science officer. That is gonna be a long line. So from here we can go to O2. Alex is gonna be alone in here. Alex is sitting in bed, a bottle of nondescript alcohol in hand. To himself in a low, menacing tone. Michael. Always in the way. Always the brilliant one, but not for long. I know where Vance keeps his emergency sidearm in the armory. A little accident in the lab. No one would ever suspect me, especially not with all this alien nonsense going on. They'll be too busy looking for monsters to look for a killer. Alex takes a big sip of alcohol. Okay, Alex, calm down. Just gonna start shooting people because you're jealous. Don't do that. And we should also, at O2, now be able to go to the research lab and see Dana and Michael there. Yeah, okay. Finally narrowed down where they are actually working together. Michael's in the lab working on something. Chief Science Officer Dana Rogan enters and sits down. Dana, you're just in time. You're not gonna believe what I found. After what you said yesterday about the wave pattern, I couldn't sleep. I know I shouldn't have, but I borrowed a specimen. I stole it from the rover this morning. Isaac saw me, but it was dark. I don't think he knows it was me. The rover, I think, is in the cargo bay, so we might be able to see that scene, clearing his throat. Look, its mineral structure is undergoing some sort of cellular shift. A protoplasmic transformation, if you will. Like, it's at an early stage of embryonic development. What I'm trying to say is that it's turning into an egg. Oh no, danger. Space eggs are probably very dangerous. Michael turns around and looks at Dana. For the first time since she entered the room. Dana? What's wrong? What happened? Dana is struggling to speak through tears. Michael, I just can't. He just doesn't understand. He never listens. Is it your husband again? Don't let him drag you down. I've seen him drink at all hours. I know he's bored here, but he's showing real signs of depression. I'm worried about him. Dana, trying to change the subject. What do you mean you stole it? Michael sighs, then a tone of urgency. Dana, listen to me. Those rock samples we sent through the fissure, they're alive. And I'm not sure we should have even brought them back on board. I need to run more diagnostics, but what if it's already too late? What if we brought something dangerous in? We need to isolate this thing immediately, but I don't know if the commander will listen. He already thinks I'm crazy. And Jackie? Where did she get those rocks? They're not from this planet, and I saw her talking with Carl about special box. There's something else going on here, and I need to find out what it is. I just need this to stay between us for now, okay? Michael pauses, then aside. Look at you. I don't think you can help right now. Why don't you go back to Alex and see if you can fix this? I'll carry on here. Dana nods and walks out of the room. So Michael actually was being accused of doing this, but it sounds like it may have just been Alex assuming it's Michael because of the jealousy he's been experiencing. I know later Jackie and Barry talk about stopping Michael, but obviously we don't know where they're getting that information from. It might just keep coming from Alex. And actually Michael was the one that discovered there was something going on with the samples and thinks it may be dangerous. And he's also suspicious about where they came from. So he might be hiding or he might be dead by the point those conversation happens. Okay, so from this, I've made some updates to my timeline, mostly concentrated here. So we can see how things are filling in over time. I think this is a good visual help with this sort of games, because you know where you're still missing someone. Like, we have an empty slot for Dana at 04, but we know after the second conversation between her and Alex in their quarters, she is supposed to go to the bridge. So she might still end up there alone, or she might end up there with someone else. So we can check. No, she wasn't alone. Someone else was already there. Someone else was there with her at 04 before she was lethally wounded. Well, instead then we can go to the fact that Michael said he stole the samples from the rover and Isaac saw him. So Michael and Isaac in the cargo bay. And it has to be at 01 because we are at 02, so there are no other time slots left. Yep, those two. Isaac. Alright, rover secured in the bay. Just need to run diagnostics. A faint shadow shifts in the corner of Isaac's eye. Dr. Grimm, is that you? The shadow darts away, disappearing into the darker recesses of the station. It seems they have taken something with them from the rover. Dr. Grimm? Michael? Okay, so that gives us Michael's surname and the fact that he's a doctor, which I guess if he works in research, that was probably something we could have guessed. So that's now updated on our name list. And we can look at the manifest, because as we uncover names, this is supposed to be changing to identified, but now I'm seeing like it gave me free identified, which is Cross, Ryan, and Rogan. Even though I have more names, it might be because I've done like the whole chief science officer something, but I was actually supposed to use one of the titles that are available here. Okay, so if we want to fix this, the astrophysicist is Jackie DuPont. I assume we have to enter her full name, so it's gonna be Jacqueline. Okay, and that pops in here. So then we have the doctor, which I assume is the medical doctor, and that's Elizabeth Darcy. Okay, we have security. We had mentions of some people going to security, but it was two of them, so can't really tell which one. Alex was talking about someone having a sidearm, so potentially a security person, but we'll get there. Then we have a scientist and biologist. I assume Michael Grimm is one of those, but we'll need to narrow that down. Comms is comms officer Zachary Jackson. Okay, that's not popping in, but that might be because I need to know whatever spelling of Zachary we're going to be using here. Then technician, chef, and ensign, I'm not sure. They were talking about Lenny like being in the kitchen in the galley, so he might be the chef, but I haven't even seen any scenes with him, so we will get to it. So from this, Alex talking about the sidearm, and we know someone is gonna be called Vance and like has access to armory again. It might be the security person, but I assume Vance is a surname in this case then, because there is not a V person as far as I know. Looking at my list, that might be Barry, because that's the one person that's like a person we have no surname for, and he's an officer, and in context it makes sense that he might be from security, but again, I'm gonna leave it until there is more information in the game. So where can we go from here? What's interesting? So we still have quite a lot of links out of the medical bay scene where they all gathered after getting the injured people out of the cargo bay. So Zach talks about Carol and Barry and him in the galley maybe 2 hours ago. So that would be somewhere at around 03. But he also says he saw Lenny tending to the kitchen and the galley, and that he was waiting for Michael and Galley, but he never showed. Some combination of B, C, L, and Z are around the kitchen and the galley earlier on. So B and C are only free in 01 and 02. By 03, they are already in the cargo bay. So it has to be one of those slots. Okay, so we have N times 01 at the galley. We have Barry, Carl, and Zach. Platter of cutlery and muffled conversation. Zach, man, this ration pack is worse than usual today. Barry, I just wish we still had some of those freeze-dried strawberries. They were the best. Zach, oh man, don't remind me. Carl, what were you doing up there earlier? You were bloody ages. Zach, I just can't get any comms out, and Cross is on the case to tell Central about the specimens. Carl, they're pissing me off with those rocks. They're all acting like it's a major discovery. It's just rocks. Barry, I don't know, you gotta admit, the way they've come back, all pulsating and stuff, is weird. Jackie thinks the Fisher does something to them. Does she now? What else does Jackie think? She say anything about me? Barry trying to change the subject. At least it's quiet in here for once. Dana Rogan can be heard shouting in the background. Carl. Quiet. I can hear Rogan's wife shouting from here. Carl, lighting a cigarette. I wish I could get Dana to complain about me for a change. She's a looker, that one. Okay, Carl, calm down. Zach, looking around in exasperation. Has anyone seen Michael? He's been even more cooped up in the research lab since that signal came in. He's always been weird, talking to his plants, but now he's practically a hermit. Carl, taking a drag from his cigarette. Yeah, he's probably trying to decode alien recipes or something. Hey, what's taking Lenny so long with that steak in there? I'm starving. Zach, probably trying to make it edible. Barry, you know, I've got a rather nice bottle of the old world whiskey in my office. We should grab Jackie later. Could be fun. Carl, now, that's an idea I could get behind. See if we can get her a little drunk and loose. Barry, don't talk about her like that. Jackie's alright. Alright, Romeo, I apologize. Let's do it. Screw waiting for whatever he's cooking in there. I'll stay here. Michael is bound to come out of his lab for food at some point. I really need to speak to him. Catch you guys later. Barry and Carl can be heard exiting the room. Someone else enters and joins Zach at the table. Okay, I was thinking, oh, maybe he will be by himself, but no, someone else came in here, but we don't know who it is. And we have a new command. We can use label, file name text to add labels to the files. That will be visible in the list view, so we can like give ourselves general context or a reminder of a bit of information we may want to come back for here. So I added a label to this file saying who joined Zach, right? Because we have to figure out who comes in there, and that will give us the scene at O2. But from here, I guess we can figure out that Lenny's in the kitchen, probably by himself at that time, cooking that steak. Yes. Clatter of pots and pans, a rhythmic grinding sound. Lenny humming softly. Oh, I haven't even labeled him. Lenny humming softly. Just a little more. Perfect. Lenny carefully folds a white powder into what sounds like aluminum foil and snorts it in one go. Mr. McCoy, this is going to be a good shift. Okay. The chef is improving his day a little bit on the side, but I guess that means his surname is McCoy? Let's check our manifest. Oh, I guess it might be like Leonard rather than Lenny, right? It's a full name. Yeah, there we go. That works. Okay, so back to the galley scene. Barry and Carl leave the room. And then previously Zach was saying they were going to go to the security office. They do eventually end up in the cargo bay, but there's still a slot of time before that. And Barry does say he has whiskey in his office. So I assume they are going to security, grab it, and then start their party tour to the cargo bay. So let's try that. O2, security, Barry and Carl. Here they are. A drawer creaks open. Barry. Alright, Carl, mission accomplished. One bottle of the good stuff as promised. And look what else I found in this hidden compartment. A low whistle. Carl. Barry, you're a genius. These will definitely liven things up. Jackson won't mind us borrowing his stash for a bit, will he? Nah, he won't mind. Besides, he owes me for that poker game last week. Carl. Lead the way, my friend. Tonight's going to be legendary. The clinking of glasses and drawer closing. Footsteps received. Okay, so yeah, that's them on their party time. So things are filling up on those initial timelines. I'm like, does Leonard just stay in the kitchen after that first scene, right? Where else would he go? Let's try that. No. He either leaves or someone else comes along. Oh, he might be the person that joins Zach in the galley, because Zach says that he saw him tending to the galley in the kitchen, and obviously he was cooking the steak for them that they didn't even wait for. So he might come into the galley with the food. So we have Lenny and Zach. Yep, that's it. The clatter of cutlery continues, but the conversation has died down. Zach to himself. Still no sign of Michael. He's really holed up in the lab. Hope he's okay. I'm really starting to think that Michael might be dead by that point. They just don't find out, like, the aliens have hatched from the egg and dragged them into the vents. Footsteps approach. A plate is set down with a clatter. Leonard. Here's your steak, Zach. Took a while, but it's finally ready. Thanks, Lenny. Looks edible. Are you heading back to the kitchen? Yeah, got more prep to do. Enjoy. Leonard walks away. Zach sighs and begins to eat. Zach muttering to himself. This is bland. So bland. A joint would really hit the spot right now. Think I'll go grab my stash after this. Need something to take the edge off. Sounds of chewing. Okay, I assume that's what the other guys found in the security office. That was his secret stash. Well, He's gonna be disappointed. But that means at 03, Leonard's back in the kitchen? Yep. Leonard is humming to himself. A quiet moment. Time for a little relaxation. A lighter clicks, followed by a soft inhale and exhale. Leonard with a contented sigh. That's the stuff. Just what I needed. A deafening explosion rocks the station. What the hell was that? Leonard finishes his cigarette and throws it away. I can't stay here by myself. The drugs are kicking in. That explosion just scared the crap out of me. Panic. This is going to give me a bad trip if I'm not careful. Where will everyone be? Leonard heads for the lift. Okay, so his objective is to try find the other people. But will he figure out where they might be, or will he just be walking around the station aimlessly, tripping? Okay, that means we've exhausted the tracks from that first galley scene, because we've seen both what Zach does after, and we've seen where Barry and Carl end up going. But the next scene, Zach says, I'll go grab my stash after this. So does he go to the security office to discover that his stash has been emptied? Yes, he does. Zach rummages for a hidden compartment in the security office, muttering, where is it? It was right here. Barry, you thieving bastard. A deafening explosion rocks the station. What the hell was that? I bet Michael did something. And if he didn't, he will know who did. Yeah, they really have it out for Michael here, right? Everyone's just immediately, something happens and everyone's just like, oh yeah, Michael did that. Zach stands up and heads out up the stairs towards the research lab. Okay, so he's gonna check the research lab, and Michael might or may not be there. He definitely doesn't find his body, because then he wouldn't be later saying, oh, Michael did this, right? He would be saying, Michael's dead. So let's see about this. 04 at the research. Zach by himself? Yes. So no one's there. The research lab is empty. Zach enters looking for Dr. Michael Grimm. Michael? Where is he? He should be here. Zach spots a glowing orb on the desk. What is this? Interesting. If this came from the rover, Michael should not have it. I'll just borrow this for a bit. He'll have some explaining to do when I find him. The sound of the orb being pocketed. Footsteps retreating. So he's been like running around with this orb afterwards. Is that the egg? Or did it come out from the egg? Or what is this all about? But after that, he ends up going to medical meeting with everyone else. So we've basically filled in Zach's early timeline up to 06. So yeah, we've got still some gaps in this early timeline. Like, where does Robert Ryan go after the initial breach scene? Maybe he just stays there, but alone or not, we don't know. And yes, what happens with Michael? Because we know he's talking to Dana at 02, and then she leaves to go back to her husband. Does Michael just stay there and something happens with the orb? Because yeah, when they talk, the only indication is that she walks out of the room. So maybe it's just Michael. Yes. Michael Grimm is alone retrieving the data. No, that's not right. The energy signatures, the timing, they came from the old world. I can't believe she would do this. It has to be her. Michael thinks for a bit, staring at what used to be a plain old rock and now a glowing orb. I saw her bring something else in. I didn't think much of it then, but now she must have it in her room. She must do. An explosion rocks the station. What was that? It came from the cargo bay. Oh no, not the specimens. I need to get them out of here. Michael runs out of the research lab and stumbles quickly down the stairs. Who is he talking about here? Is he talking... I don't think he's talking about Dana. Is he talking about Jackie, potentially? Because we know later on in the scene in Jackie's room, yeah, there are sounds of someone looking around the room and she's freaking out about something being missing and someone's been in her room. So does Michael go in her room afterwards and take something? Because we know he doesn't end up in the cargo bay, because during and after the explosion, almost everyone is crowded there and they would have seen him. So let's see if Michael goes to Jackie's room. No, or not immediately, or he's not alone. So let's look at some of those other gaps. Dana at 04, right before she gets injured and killed. Someone must come to the bridge with her and do this, right? I would presume. And there are only few people remaining that it could be, assuming it's one of them, right? Because I'm already prepared with this sort of game for there to be hidden people, right? That we don't know about yet, and we're gonna have to discover them in order to lock that down. And we already know it's not Michael because I've tried that. So I think let's look at the other two, Jackie and Ryan. So let's check the previous scene with Ryan. So in 01, Ryan and Cross are in the bridge. And then Cross leaves. He goes to the med bay to Roman's Dr. Darcy. They talk about the signal. Ryan is not convinced about the alien signals and what they're finding. He's just like, sounds like they're just making it up. And he says, yes, Commander, I will recalibrate the secondary sensors. Are there sensors here or are there sensors somewhere else? I mean, the fact that only one person leaves the room in this sort of game always lets me to think, well, if one person left and we know who that is, then the other person stayed. So he's here, potentially alone. We know he later goes to medical bay to find Cross after he's done this. So let's try O2 bridge and R for Robert Ryan. Yes, okay, so he did just stay. Robert is listening to music, pretending to drum in the air. I love that song. Robert turns up the music real loud, gets up off his chair and starts jumping around the room. Yeah, he's just having a little dance party. A soft hum of computer processing, then a chime. Robert, out of breath. Finally, the analysis is complete. This is unexpected. I need to show this to Seb immediately. Footsteps hurrying away. Okay, so he did run the things and something came up. But then we don't get to see what it is because by the time he goes and gives it to Cross, explosions. Okay, other than that, can I figure out where Jackie goes at 04? At 03, she is in the cargo bay with Barry and Carl and Isaac. Oh no, I actually know where Jackie is at 04. She is injured in the cargo bay. I've just made a mistake when I was filling my little chart. In that case, now for 04 we have Dana left, Leonard and Michael. We don't know what Michael's after, but we know he's not with Dana in the bridge. I'm wondering maybe Leonard went to the bridge because his last thing was like, where could have they all gone, right? After he hears the explosion, he wants to find other people to help him. And I guess he thinks like, oh, they may gather in the bridge, but actually they're all in the cargo bay. Only Dana's in the bridge. So does he go there and see her? Actually, he does. The bridge is dimly lit, emerging lights casting long shadows. The distant wail of alarms can still be heard. Dana, where's everyone? What was that explosion? Hello? Footsteps approach, heavy and deliberate. Leonard. What's this? Why are you wearing Dana's skin? Leonard's eyes are bloodshot. He seems out of it. Dana takes a step back. Then we have Leonard saying, Lenny, what are you saying? What's wrong? You're scaring me. Is this a mistake in the transcript? Or is Lenny just freaking himself out? Give it back. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't even fit you. It's loose. You need scales. Dana, stay away from me, Lenny. Alex will kick your ass. Leonard, I said give it back. Leonard rushes towards Dana and grabs her by the throat. Dana, get off me. A struggle ensues. Grunts and gasps. A metallic glint. Leonard with a sudden sharp intake of breath, then panic. No. What have you done? Dana is on the floor, bleeding from her stomach. She gasps for air, a choked cry emanating from her lips. Panicked footsteps running away. Leonard. Oh God, I didn't mean to, it was an accident. A heavy thud as Dana collapses in silence. Save for distant alarms. Okay, I was already going into a whole, oh, it's probably the alien that got her. No, it's Lenny on his strip that got her. Wow. And then they still go around and it's like, it was Michael. Michael did that. Poor Michael. Just because he's, so into his science and doing his work and talking to his plants, they immediately accuse him when it's actually someone completely different. Actually, the whole talking to his plants now makes me think, is Michael Grimm the biologist, right? Rather than just the scientist. Yes, he is. Okay, that's 7 out of 12. I mean, we have met everyone. It's just either assigning their jobs, or I may be missing a surname, or I may be missing a full spelling of their first name, right? Because they use like shorter forms, like Leonard was Lenny and Jacqueline was Jackie. And like, we know there's a Zach, which is Zachary, but there are so many spellings of that. I'm not gonna guess. I'm sure someone's gonna say it at some point. Another thing I'm sort of wondering about is the logs, right? Because we got some logs to start with. And then we know the format of the logs, right? We know it's a date and then a log and then the person's initials. So are we just supposed to figure out that at some point a person writes a log, or will it be given to us like we will see a scene of they sit in their room and writing a log or recording a log, whatever it is? Because yeah, I think the 10 of October logs are before everything goes down, so I don't know whether they bother afterwards to do all the logs. But I guess the fact that Lenny kills Dana leaves us into an interesting thing, because both Alex accuses Michael, and then later on at 09, which is the furthest in timeline we'll still have, we still have Jackie talking about stopping Michael, so they did not clear this up at all. And that means he has not been seen this entire time, right? What happened to him? Has he died, or has he gone into hiding? But I think this is something we're gonna explore next time. We've got a lot of the early events filled up, and we're gonna have to find a way to move forward in the timeline. And well, we've sort of solved Dana's murder, right? We know what happened to her, but how will then that lead to everyone else dying, right? Because as far as I know, no one makes it alive out of this station. And I don't think Lenny will just go around and kill everyone else. He's not like, oh yeah, I started, might as well finish it off. So there still has to be something going on with the alien eggs, alien orbs, right? I assume it's not just a distraction. So the investigation will continue. And for now, thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed, consider liking or subscribing. Huge thank you to channel members for supporting the channel. And I will see you soon on another investigation.